That's right, guys. We're here on January 22nd, 2021. And boy, oh boy, do we have a great show for you today. We will be speaking to rising superstar Eddie Abasolo. He's out of Vallejo, California, guys. It's going to be a great story. We have a little bit of a past, right? But we're going to talk a little bit about that and where he is today and just all the great things that are going on in his life about the sport. With his, family life and all the things that he's doing in the sport of Muay Thai and kickboxing. I think you fans out there should definitely, join in for this exciting show. We also want to thank our sponsors at WearWig.club and Eastern Offset Print for all they do for us. Be sure to check out WearWig.club at WearWig.club, right? We always, by the way, I want to remind everyone that we are streaming on Facebook and YouTube. Right now, you can also check us out on Instagram. We have a lot of things going on out there, guys, at PKB underscore kickboxing and Johnny Davis Live with 3 exclamation marks on YouTube, guys. Be sure to check us out. We're actually growing a little bit there on YouTube. We're not there yet, but as I said, guys, go ahead and check us out because who knows, one day we might be really big and you're going to say, hey, I helped them get there. We also want to remind everyone about the 4th annual IKF Spring Classic coming up March the 19th, 20th, and the 21st. Guys, it's going to be in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina at the Landmark Resort. It's going to be a great event. Ton of fighters. I will remind everyone to go ahead and get your registrations in. Got a feeling we're going to have to cut that registration off a little bit early. Just so many fighters are hungry and they're ready to fight. They're ready to get in there. They're ready to do their thing. And we want to provide this platform for them to be able to do what they love to do. And so, listen, go to akpromotions.org and look at the current registered fighters. And again, those divisions are filling up so fast. So go ahead and get registered. I want to remind the rollover fighters that those people who are rolling over from maybe the October tournament or rolling over from the Georgia tournament, you need to go ahead and let us know right now if you want to fight in the March show. The brackets are filling up. Everything is filling up fast. So if there's nothing there for you, you're going to lose your registration. You're going to lose your fees. Okay, so we put this out for a long time. Go ahead now and let us know if you want to compete in that event. Please don't blame me after the 31st, please, okay? Because I have been pleading with you to go ahead and get that information in. We only have a short amount of time. I know Mr. Abasolo has some things here going on, so we want to go ahead and get right into that great interview with him. But I do want to remind everyone we are still looking for contenders for our United States champions there. We have, several of them. Jaden Reeves at 112 pounds. We have Tyrese Cunningham, right? He's at 22. And then we have Miss Anna Tools at 127. Guys, check it out. The information is on the website at akpromotions.org. All right, guys. I know you've heard enough of me running my mouth about stuff, guys. So without any further ado, we want to bring up the man of the hour. He is a young man who is very talented, and you will see that. Smart young man, does his thing, knows exactly what's going on in the ring. Ladies and gentlemen, there he is, the one and the only Eddie Abasolo. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. Those intros are just like I remember them, John.
yeah. But it was Wayne Wilson that was doing them.
Right.
Yeah. No doubt about that. Eddie, is so great to have. We've been trying to hook up for a long time. To kind of catch back up and get things going. It's taken a little bit of a minute. And all, but I'm so glad to have the opportunity to finally catch up with you. Maybe the Rona has something to do with that, because a lot of times you were saying, hey, man, I just got a lot going on, and stuff like that. So I'm glad that we finally, had this chance to, catch up, and let's chat a little bit. Let's let people know exactly what's going on with you in your sport and in your world, in the Eddie Abasolo world. First of all, I want to just, try to talk a little bit about, the past, right? And just, how I want people, I guess my goal is today, Eddie, that I want people to kind of get the idea of how to start from the bottom and then to grow and rise up. So I think I have a formula, right? And I think you, in my opinion, you're a perfect example of the formula that I've been talking about for the last 20 years,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
let's just go back from the beginning. Now, early on over in California, you were, I understand, and I heard this now, that you were doing a lot of smokers.
Yeah. Yeah. I had about 30, 34, 35 smokers. Hey, but that's when it was hot, man. That's when it was hot. That's when they were having them every weekend. You
Now,
know, you
right,
can't do that no more.
right. Well, that's the interesting thing about it, Eddie, that the smokers were something that were legal, not legal, we illegal,
Yeah.
but they were happening and people were doing them, and you had a lot of talent, a lot of skill, and people told me, hey, later on they told me actually that, well, yeah, he was kind of doing smokers, but everybody
Yeah.
was doing
Yeah.
smokers. It was just a culture, right?
Yeah.
It was only until later that the IKF kind of got involved, and then it became more of a regulatory thing, right?
Yeah.
What do you think the biggest difference is when it comes to the smoker climate and the regulated events?
Um, it was just easier. It it was literally like, okay, what you guys doing this weekend? We're gonna go, we're gonna go pick a fight. Uh, and like,
Which is you got to admit that was a little dangerous.
yeah, it was a little dangerous, but growing up in the '80s, man, like it was just a dangerous lifestyle. No seat belts. You know what I mean? We were able to ride back of the trucks. You know what I'm saying? Just stuff like that. But man, what that did for us was, um, for all the people who come from, uh, you know, poverty, stuff like that. It was just easy. Now
Right.
we got to pay registration fees and all that other stuff. But everything. I understand everything's for a reason, but in those times it was just like, oh, let's get the ring time. Let's get the ring time. Every weekend we were in the ring. Uh, Smokers, like 30, 40 smokers sometimes.
Yeah.
Fighters. I
Right.
mean, it was just the ring time, the experience. You know what I mean, of being able to be in there over and over again, and the people that you fought became your friends. It was weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
in the ring, but when we would step out, it was all love because we were probably gonna fight each other again next weekend. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right, right. Well, and that's true, right? And so the respect, and that's what I love about the sport of Muay Thai and kickboxing, that the respect is always there for the most part, and we try to keep that alive. I know in all the events and stuff that we did. Okay, so about 20 some years ago, right? Then, I was living also in California. So I came up with this great idea, right? Which was the PKB, which surprisingly, you did not even know that I was still running today.
I had no idea.
I know, right? Yeah, it's all mine now. In that sense, it was then. It was a great idea. So then, what I did was I saw some of those smokers happening, and I saw some events that were taking place, which kind of gave me the idea that we needed something else, right? And so, in creating that, you actually started competing a little bit in the PKB tournaments. What was that like for you?
It was awesome. It was awesome. A little bit more of a real feel geared towards going to AMI and eventually pro. You know what I mean?
Right.
Scene is different. The fact that still have a walkout for people. You still, you know what I mean? I'm sure you give that same speech you would give every event. You have the walkthrough, man. Hey, those speeches did a lot for me, man.
Oh, good.
It gave me a lot of my charisma. You would tell us when you're getting ready to walk out. Treat it like the real thing. You know what I mean? Like take your time, shake out. There was like that touched me so hard. I remember I stayed on the walkout stage for like a half a song or something like that. All right, come on, man.
And Abby, I'm glad you remember that because right now I'm giving, like you said, I'm giving those same speeches, right? And people just like, oh my God, this guy just talks, 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 and he just goes on. I am trying to teach people about what it takes to be a superstar, what it takes to be, an exciting fighter, not only just in the ring, but even just being out in the world and certainly on that walk. And also now my amateurs at my events, they have a ramp, right? At these amateur events with lights on them, right? And I tell them the same thing in the meeting. while you're on that ramp, it is your show.
Yeah.
Do your thing. And you're right, Eddie. I remember a couple times you went up there, man. You
Man, I had oh my gosh, I felt like I was in a music video.
Eddie, you were up there, you were doing your things, man. Okay, so we eventually we had you in the PKB. We saw that you were extremely talented in the PKB.
Yeah.
Then really too good for the PKB, to be honest with you. You know, you were just too good for the PKB, and you wanted to exhort. So we started doing shows. You know, then I think at the DoubleTree Hotel, and then we did them some other places. But at the DoubleTree, we started building you up at that point. You know, we kind of started you kind of like with fighters that with a little bit of experience, you know, because we knew that you could handle yourself. So you didn't start like back then. We weren't looking so much at novice and open. We just knew you had a little bit more experience. So we kind of tried to throw you into the lions, right?
Hey, thank you for that so much, man. Like that helped shape me so much, rather than being built up as far as, oh, you're for sure to beat this guy. That doesn't test our skill. You know what I mean? That every fight, since I knew I was facing someone with more experience, it just gave me that much more confidence for the next one and the next one. You know what I mean?
Right. And I think that was one of the things that I think that people again don't understand. Like right now, when I do a little bit of matching in some of the tournaments and things, you know, I'm trying to I won't let just some big dogs, you know, with big records come in and eat up the little guys, you know. And people are, oh, well, you said this and you said that. So, well, you know, it might say this, but if I know your fighter is a killer, right? I want to put them in a competition that's a real competition, not just something for them to, you know, go there and just eat somebody alive. That's just not what this is about, right? And it shouldn't be, especially in full contact and all. And so when you, if you can, what do you remember most though? You said about the speeches, you said about the walkout, but what about the crowds that we had at the DoubleTree?
Man, those unmatched, man, unmatched. Those crowds were the best. They were just so much love. People coming from all over the Bay, not just from me, but like we had a whole bunch of solid fighters. You know what I mean? I remember when one of my first fights, John Pryor was headlining. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think John Herney as well.
Yeah.
You know, that's my boy.
Right. We'll chat about that. Yeah.
And it's just like it was dope. It was dope for me. Like just to see the crowd. Sometimes it was so piercing loud from people screaming. You can literally, it feels like your ears are being pierced. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not but eardrums.
I know. And what's so interesting about that, I try to tell people today, I have not yet met the criteria that I had in California. People don't believe me when I say that. I've not met that crowd yet. I've not met that level of enthusiasm and even that level of fighters like you, TJ Arcangel, like you said, John Pryor. I mean, there were several champions. We had a roster of about 12 great champions that we were building, over and over again. Like every other month, we were promoting every other month, and you were often the headliner of those shows. And it got to a point where you became my biggest ticket seller. I don't know if you knew that. Right? I might be throwing that on you right now. Huh?
Yeah, no, I knew. I knew. My dad used to push those tickets for, man. Hey, my dad's a hustler. You know what I mean? He made these.
I want you to go ahead and elaborate on that, Eddie. Go ahead and elaborate on that a little bit. Exactly where you're going right now. I want you to explain to these young fighters how important it is to have your family involved in helping the promotion.
Yeah. Man, a lot of us have a lot more support than we realize, and people want to support us. As long as you're a genuine person, you know what I mean?
Right.
I know a lot of people that they don't talk to nobody, but they only come around when it's time to sell tickets.
Right.
And that doesn't,
Right.
If you're a genuine person, and you don't just come around when you need to sell tickets, it's almost like you're selling tickets year round, even when you're not selling tickets. You know what I mean?
You're right.
But it's not just with selling tickets. It's with
just being genuine,
earning people's love. That's it. But my dad, he would hustle the tickets. You know what I mean? Everyone would make sure they were there. It's just like, um, you just gotta know your community. That's
Right.
it. You
Look, guys,
just can't go outside and expect your community to rise for you when you're not there, uh, with it, involved in it. You know what I mean?
right,
Everyone, like Vallejo, I feel like the Bay Area, period,
right.
is just a. You know what I mean? Everyone supports each other.
Right, right. And I think that you're absolutely right about that. But we're not talking about 30, 40, 50, 60 tickets. We're talking hundreds of tickets. I mean, that you would sell for people to come and see you fight. And in fact, I got to bring up this moment right here and all. And I know we got a lot of the stuff to talk about. I know that you still have to leave it like you have a class at noon or something like that, or in an hour.
No,
Are you good on time?
I'm good.
Excellent. Perfect. Okay. All right. Because but one of the things, like I remember, like in the biggest event that you did, right? The biggest fight that you had on my shows, you went all the way up. You won like state titles. Now I think a United States title. I mean, you went all the way up to just what I'm trying to do now with these young fighters. Before I
Yeah.
go there, though, I want you to talk a little bit about that level of commitment to a promoter, because you and at the time Trey Howard, who I want to ask about as well. Right. Well, first of
Yeah.
all, where's Trey?
Beats me, man.
Yeah.
We don't keep in contact no more.
Right.
But all I can say is, he's taking care of his family. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
His changed. That's it.
Right. You guys were so close. You guys, I know you have another trainer right now, and I'll talk about him in just a second. But that was a good at the time. It was a great relationship, right? And you guys
Man,
were like brothers.
yeah, we were like brothers, man. He used to come and kick it at my house after training. We used to barbecue. We used to have a couple drinks and just hang out. He was family. He wasn't, you know what I mean, just my trainer. Uh, at the time, he was probably close to a cuss D'Amato for me.
Right.
You know, we were tight. He would actually teach me, and like we would talk about fighting all the time. We would watch fights, and just like look at techniques and just like we would just break it down. You know what I mean? That's how we hang out. You know what I mean? But I don't know. He's up in SAC as
Okay.
far as but yeah, he has a family now. You
Wow.
know.
Wow. And let me tell you something with Trey. I remember, Trey was always, I was always trying to. That was a learning time for me for Muay Thai, because I was a more of a, stand up high kick fighter. So I was learning a lot. And I'll never forget, I went up to Trey and I said, Trey, I want you to put me in a clinch. Right? I said, put me in a clinch. I want to see what it feels like. I thought he was going to break my neck. I mean, it was like, oh, it was so tight. And he
Yeah.
said, he showed me how to lock. And I still do that today. If I get somebody in a clinch, you better watch out, but I got you tight, So he did that. And I've never forgotten that. So thanks, Trey. I appreciate that. That was a serious lesson for me about how strong that can be in the clinch.
Yeah.
But certainly in the relationship, though, you guys work together with me in the sense as a promoter to help, with your family, do the right thing and help build the shows. So it was, like you said, a family relationship that everybody was involved in, the fact that you were going to be in that ring, putting
Yeah.
yourself on the line.
Yeah.
It was just another type of relationship. So I want, if you can explain a little bit more about that, as you were saying, to the fighters and the trainers out there, about the loyalty to a promoter, and especially one who's working hard to try to build up you and your fighter. How important is that?
Man, loyalty in any relationship is one of the most important things.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And loyalty just means it just means communicating, in my
Right.
opinion. One of the
Yes.
factors is just communication, you know.
Right.
Um, Communication messes up a lot of loyalty just from miscommunication, you know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
or
Right.
one
You're right.
one thing the wrong way, or even silence. You know, oh, I haven't heard from this person in a while. I'm going over here instead
Right.
of, hitting someone up and be like, hey man, what's up?
That's real talk.
Yeah,
That's real talk. What
it,
about Kyrian? Now, listen, I had a relationship with Kyrian. He's your trainer now, correct?
no,
He's not.
nah, I'm solo bolo.
Oh, so okay. Well, I didn't know. I didn't know.
I
But
got
you
my
did work with Kyrian for a little while.
yeah, almost a decade, man.
What?
Yeah.
Wow, wow. So now Kyrian's a pretty stand-up guy, best I know, right?
For the most part, yes.
Yeah, I know
Oh,
there are things.
all of us put on you know what I mean? Me as well. I'm not perfect, you
Right,
know.
right. Right, I get that. Bill Killian, what I best remember about him when I was promoting his other fighters, Herney and other people that were involved and stuff like that. He's a pretty stand-up guy to me, right? And we had a pretty good relationship, and he pushed his guys, and we had him on the show, and I just kind of did my part. But as we moved you through on the shows, Eddie. Now, I got to talk a little bit about this. And like I said, Johnny Davis Live, real talk, real solutions, right? Might not be much of a solution, but it'll certainly be real talk, right? One of the things that I remember, and I'm going to see what you remember about this, as you were coming up, you were winning, but there was a time when you met someone. No, that's the wrong one. Look at me. I'm just not paying attention to what I'm doing. Right. That's the thing. But there was somebody who you met later on in the we did the West Coast Classic, right? There was the West Coast Classic there, which was like one of the largest tournaments ever held out there in California that I promoted along with the IKF.
Yeah.
And it was a really big turnout. We had like 180 fighters, 88 fighters that actually participated in the event and everything. And while you were in that tournament, you had a full bracket of fighters. I think you had 8 people in your back, which was full for me.
Yeah.
And it was just an amazing fight that you ended up having with a guy called Alexander Nomasky.
Yeah.
What did you think about the first outing that you had with Alexander?
Oh man, it was one of my favorite fights, man. You're talking about the first time, right?
The first fight.
First one I won.
Right.
The second one I lost.
Right.
So we're 1-1 right now. We're tied. But I remember that event. I trained my butt off for it because I knew the whole time in the training camp, even though I knew it was an 8-man tournament, I knew I was going to fight Alexander Nomasky.
You did?
Yep.
Right.
I knew it.
Okay.
So when I remember that event, he was up first, and we looked at each other as he was walking up to the ring. And then he finished his guy, I believe, in the second round with leg kicks. Right?
He was strong.
He was nasty, man.
Yeah.
He came down, and we looked at each other, and I was like,
really?
hey, I like he gave me the same look though.
Right.
Yeah. I was up next, right? I
Right.
finished in the first round with leg kicks, and I came. We looked at each other. We knew he was going. I think I knew I was going to fight him. I feel like he knew he was going to fight me too.
Oh my God, I love that. So in the first time out, like you said, you had already, taken out some guys and everything.
Yeah.
That was the first time out. But on the second time and getting ready for that, right? I saw that you guys had a rivalry, right? So I said, okay, by that time, you had already won a world championship under my tournament, right? You fought a guy from where was he? Who was that first world title fight that we did?
It wasn't Quincy, was it?
No, it wasn't Quincy. Quincy was for a state title.
Man, I don't remember who the first one
No,
was.
I think he was out of Arizona or somewhere. I cannot call his name. But anyway, it was a great fight. And I think If I remember correct, you stopped him in the 5th round.
Oh, Damian Early.
Damian Early. Yeah, there you go. Right. You stopped him in the 5th round, which, if you want to win a world title, that's the way you win it, right? That, it was beautiful. It was beautiful, right? So, but then, like I said, you had already had this match with Namaski. And also, I said, well, Namaski's got to be, and it was a tough fight even in the tournament, that, they started pushing for, hey, we want that shot. We want that shot. What did you think about that? The fact that you knew this guy was tough and that he was coming after your title.
I knew I was going to see him again.
Oh, okay.
I always assumed that I'm going to see my opponents again. So I never count him out after I fight him. So I wasn't surprised. He was the man for the job, as far as everyone that was in the circuit with us, you know what I mean?
Right. So you kind of had your eyes on him all along. You knew it was coming.
Yeah.
He was coming to dinner. He was coming to eat.
Yeah. And he won that fight fair and square. I feel like it was a real close one. It could have gone either way, but I
respect that. I respect that for you, right? For saying that. People do not want to say they lost, but Eddie, you lost that one. But let me tell you something. It was a beautiful fight. I mean, back and forth. Right? If you guys want to go on YouTube and check out Eddie Abasolo and Namaski, Alexander Namaski. If you want to see a great fight, I almost want to show it right here, right now. I mean, but it is a really great fight. If you want to see some great, it was full rule Muay Thai, beautiful fight. Forward, backwards, it was just going. And you know what? He edged you out a little bit. Because he was throwing some devastating leg kicks. You were kind of laid back. And I want to ask you a question, though. What is the difference in the Eddie then and that really more? You still fight with that same slick style, right? But you seem to be a little bit more confident about that style. What is the difference now, Eddie?
Back then, I knew from faith. Now, I know for sure. Back then it was just faith. I just knew. Now, it's not just faith. I can see it and I know it.
Right. So with that, though, what is the message that you can give to young fighters today about how to accept a loss and how to then not just let that defeat you, but move past that?
Yeah. Look, man, my very first smoker, I trained hard for it, and I invited all my friends and my family to World Team USA in a small ass gym in San Francisco. It was packed, man.
Crew Sam for something.
They had a nice little walkout set up also. I came out dancing, this and that, all cocky and stuff, and I got dropped and TKO'd in the first 20 seconds.
Ooh.
Very first fight, inviting all your friends and family, completely humiliated. How do you bounce back from that? Is this what you want to do?
Right.
If there's something that you want to do, failure won't stop you. Failing a couple times won't stop you. If it's something you're really passionate about, it's like, man, I want to do this again.
Right.
Our favorite fighters, most of us can't even tell you our favorite fighter's record. It's because the wins and the losses don't matter. You know,
it's experience, it's the learning.
Some of my favorite fights from some of my favorite fighters lost those fights.
Right. I wanted to say something, Eddie, that I want to recognize a few people who have kind of checked us out today. Max Griffin, right, was on, who is a UFC fighter, right? Does a great job over in Sacramento. He says, shout out to Johnny Davis and Eddie Abasolo. How you doing, Max? You're doing good out there, man. I appreciate you coming on today. Out there with Dave Marinovo, is someone I've worked with over the years as well. Hamed is out of Ghana, Africa. He's out represented over there. He says he really loves this family. And Jeff Grady, right, who is one of my PKB promoters over here, a great trainer over here in this area. He says, whoa, Eddie is the best fighter in the country, if you ask me, right? That is huge. That is huge.
Ask you then.
Huh?
I said, well, then I will ask.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You know, and you know Jeff Grady's a really talented fighter himself, a talented trainer and everything. Did you ever fight in Thailand or anything, Eddie?
Nah, man. I was supposed to. I went out there and I was supposed to fight, but then I got sick.
Mm.
By the time I came home, the guy at the gym, the manager at the gym, texted me and said, "You got to fight this weekend." I was like,
Wow.
"Oh," and you know, it's just that easy to get a fight out there. That I can't believe I got sick when I was out there. But hey, if I ever get the chance to go out there and do it again, I would
Right.
love to.
So you were training out there for a little while though.
Yeah, at Sitson Pinong with Moonlet and Yad Payak.
How important was that to your career? Because you do not fight like a traditional Muay Thai fighter. You know, you're very fluent. You know, how did that experience out there help you in your career?
Well, first off, what's traditional Muay Thai look like? You know what I
Mm.
mean? One of the best in the world uh, doesn't fight quote unquote traditional. Sanchai, you know,
Bunkal,
yeah, you
Bunkal,
know.
yeah.
But I feel like that experience shaped me a lot, man. Just being around the atmosphere, seeing how they are with each other, seeing how they train. You know, I spent so much time just watching their feet. You know, the way they move, the way they chill. You know, I got to see a few fighters close up, getting ready to go out there and fight. You
Fine.
know, they're
Wow.
just they're sitting right next to each other, just chilling.
Yeah, I heard that. That's what
Yeah,
Ryan and Daniel was telling me that. They're sitting right beside each other.
yeah. You know, and it's just like they're warming up right next to each other. It's just like, oh, we're about to go out there and do this. You know, that's what kind of helped me with my mentality when I came back. I wasn't really too much about the talking. You know, because regardless of what's said, it's just we're gonna go in there and find out. We're gonna fight.
Right,
Like that's getting riled up right now. We're gonna
right.
fight.
Yeah, yeah,
Prove,
yeah.
prove it. You know.
Right, right. But you said that like Bokal, I think I'm saying that right, Bukal.
Hmm.
But he's very fluent in his fighting. You are very fluent in the way you fight. Was he an inspiration to you, Muhammad Ali? Who was your inspiration in with that fighting style?
Man, more than I can, more people than I can write down. You know, take a little bit from everyone. You
Right,
know, uh, from people from completely different styles. You know what I'm saying? From the
right.
to the slicksters, and you know what I mean. The people with good ring IQ. It's just like I feel like I'm just a collage of things that I've liked to see and I've tried to work on, and that I've made work for me. And I'm still learning because not everything works, not all the time. I constantly have to make adjustments. You know.
Right, but I am curious though. One thing that you did that I thought was kind of interesting, Eddie, was that you have a full arsenal. When I say full, you could talk about full Muay Thai, and people talk about the boxing, the elbows, the knees, right, and the kicks,
Yeah.
that 8 out of 8 limbs. They talk about that, but they don't fully develop that arsenal, right? They can barely do a little bit of this and a little bit. But with you, your boxing hands really are as good as a professional boxer. Your elbows are as slick, right? I mean, you're spinning elbows galore, right?
Yeah.
Your sweeps are magic, right? And your kicks are perfect in the way you execute them, right? I mean, and your knees, you can knee from any angle. What,
Mhm.
tell these young fighters about the importance of not being one-dimensional, but creating and developing a full arsenal.
It's fun, man. It's fun, uh, not just being one way because it's hard to figure you out. I'm not gonna say that never be figured out, but it's very difficult to figure you out if you can fight both ways. If you can fight going forward, if you can fight going backwards, if you can play the long game, if you can just get up in someone's face and just keep going, you know, and you can hit them from anywhere at any level.
Right.
Uh, and it's just repetition. That's mainly what it
Repetition.
rep,
Repetition.
every
However you want to fight,
yeah,
practice that in the gym over and over again, regardless of how it is,
yeah,
regardless of what the style is. Like, look at Hamed, right? The guy, remember Nassim Hamed in the boxing?
He's one person that's contributed to the way.
He was a killer early on, man. He was a killer. I mean, this guy was slick, move, back,
Yeah,
and knock people, bam, right out
yeah,
until somebody figured him out.
yeah.
Right? So, but it's their job to figure it out. And I think that is important. Eddie, off the beaten path for a minute, I want to shift for a minute. What's up with your hair, brother?
Start with
Hey,
it.
that you have some of the most extraordinary hair that I think I've ever seen in a fighter, and some of those cornrows and things. Who's doing your hair?
Hey, my wife.
Oh
My
my
wife.
gosh, man!
When I
She
first started Muay Thai, I had long, but I cut it because it was just in the way of training.
right.
And then once I got good enough, I felt like I could start growing it out again.
Eddie, Eddie, is it kind of like a warrior feeling, a little bit like a warrior with your hair, long hair, like in the old samurai days?
Oh
Do you
man,
kind of feel like you're kind of a warrior? There's something about that hair.
yeah, man. It's my antennas.
Ah!
My secret is how I pick up what's going on in the ring.
Okay, man. Don't tell them your secret now, because I love you go to sleep and they'll send somebody in there and cut that hair off. I think there was a story like that in the Bible, right?
This is actually how me and Bernadette, my wife, got together. Is we worked with each other at Walmart. Someone that I usually would go to do my hair. I'd come to work and she'd see my hair and be like, "Who's doing your hair?" Like, man, let me hook you up. And then
Right. Okay.
led
And
to
she did, and she really did, with kids and everything.
oh, oh nine.
Eddie, one of the things I saw on your Facebook page, and this is really talking about developing the arsenal again. I saw this and it was very intriguing to me because a lot of people don't understand this. And this is why I know you're intelligent. I know that you're an intelligent. I've known this for a long time, but I want people to dive in. Anybody, I tell you, if you're a Muay Thai kickboxing fighter out there, you need to be listening to this interview or check it out later. And that's what happened. Hundreds and hundreds of people will check it out later. But this man is smart. I saw on your Facebook that you were teaching guys how to move to music. You
Yeah,
were teaching them about rhythm.
yeah.
And you had them and they couldn't move it on. they were not very good, right? Tell
Yeah,
us how important, because again, hey, hey, I am who I am, right? My whole life was about music. But explain your theories and how important adjusting rhythm to timing and all the other things in the gym as well as in the ring.
Man, fighting is just a dance. All it is a two-step.
Ah,
Uh, really, we only have 2 feet.
right,
It's just a two-step. That's all it is. Two-step and weight transfer, pop blocking. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. I feel like when we pop block, it's almost the same thing as when I feint. You know what I mean? If I'm sitting here and I'm trying to feint on you, it's the same thing as pop blocking.
right.
I just feel like when we find our rhythm, or when we just get on the dance floor, we could dance forever, even if
Right.
we're keep going. You know what I mean? It's the same thing as when I'm in the ring. I got a person in front of me. If I'm on the dance floor, I got a person in front of me, and I'm just trying to catch their rhythm, watch their hips, watch their shoulders. You know what I mean? Watch the way they move their feet, and try to just flow with them with the way that they're moving. And that's all anticipating movement. You know what I mean? Just by finding the rhythm. Same
So they
thing.
become like a dance partner.
Yeah, in the ring they become a dance partner.
Wow.
Sometimes, but it's a fight, so that means we're gonna be stepping on each other's toes a lot. You know what I mean? This is just one way I look at it to help me like calm my nerves when I'm in there and keep my composure. Instead of looking at it like a fight, we're just playing patty cake and dancing. You
Right.
know?
Wow, that's awesome. I love that because when I saw that, I'm like, he is exactly right. You gotta dance, you gotta pop, 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 boom, 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 boom. I always use the concept of a band, right?
Yeah,
Of a band, like a whole band. So you got a little bit of, a ding, a ding, a ding, a ding. You have a dun, a dun, a dun, a dun. You have the bass, boom, 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 boom. And that's when you're really sitting down and setting
hey,
down on those punches for power.
the Cuban boxers, like that's how they train. you know.
Right.
All they listen to music, it's all dancing, their footwork and everything, man. You know, that's one. Watching the Cuban boxers train, that's um one other element that got me interested in rhythm.
Right. Give us a day in the life of Eddie in a training day. What does a normal training day look like for you, Eddie? How do you start out when you wake up in the morning? You know, when you go in the kitchen like
Yeah,
Rocky and pop that raw egg and put it in the milk.
yeah. Well, I don't do that, man.
Hey, guess what? I did.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I did that for years. Milk. Well, first I would do the raw egg, and then sometimes I would do milk and eggs, and I did
yeah,
that almost my whole career. I'll be honest with you. It helped out in a lot of other things too. Anyway, another story. Go ahead.
yeah. I want to hear that story later.
Yeah, okay.
All right. But the day these days, I'm trying to get up slower than people. There was a time where I would get up early in the morning and immediately I'd be anxious
Ah.
to the gym, anxious to get in there, anxious to get to work. Uh,
Hmm.
Now I'm just taking my time and kind of getting a running start into my sprint. You know, I got also I'm getting older. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I just can't get up and just like
Right.
track as like I used to. So I get up. Um, it depends. If I leave to the gym early around 6 or 7. I'm there. We got little basketball hoops. You know what I mean? Hooked
Yeah.
up
Yeah. Yeah.
basketball, or I'm kicking the soccer ball around, or I'm playing with the blaze pods, or working on my balance, or just trying to get my body awake. You know,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
then I do bag work until people show up. Then we do conditioning, and then if I have to teach, I'll teach. I'll probably teach a couple personals. Uh, More bag work, shadow boxing. It's just I'm just in there, man. It's like a kid playing in the playground, you know.
Right.
It's like, oh, bars. I'm gonna go play with that a little bit. All right, I'm tired of this now. Go down the slide for a little bit. I'm gonna go back to the monkey bars or this and that. I'm just constantly working on my craft. One bag will give me an idea, but then I'll have to go into this bag to try to implement it, and then
Mm.
chain reaction type. You know what I'm saying?
Is there like a speed, a power, and a timing focus aspect that you put on every technique that you do?
Yeah, yep. But it all comes from my rhythm and my balance first, and then everything else is just calibrating, and you know what I mean. Trying
Do
to
you think that's the big? Do you think that's the biggest difference between you being an amateur and now being a pro? Is that more mature approach to training?
yeah. It every Both sides have their pros and cons, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Back then, like I was just so determined, man. Um, I'm still as determined now, but back then I was determined to where I was sacrificing too much time with my family.
Yeah.
You know, when I reached whatever felt like a pinnacle in my life, the only thing I could think about was my wife and kids. You
Uh,
know, so it was like, man,
is that why you do this? Is that one of the reasons? Do you have a certain hope and desire to be able to even better take care of your family through fighting? Do you think that's going to actually happen for you in this sport?
um, I never, I never had that in mind that fighting was going to take care of my family financially, um, to where they're well off, to where we're driving fancy cars and stuff like
Right.
that. All I needed to do was make enough money from fighting, as I would from a normal 9 to 5 job. You know, as far as like when I worked at Kelly Moore, or when I worked at Walmart or McDonald's, or uh, or any of those jobs. You know, I just need enough to appear as if I'm working a 9 to 5.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. No, I get it.
my dream and do what I want to do. Uh, my more, but if I make enough to leave money for my kids or my wife, money can be used and abused. Uh, I mean, misused. You know what I mean, and taken advantage of. But if I leave them morals and no one can take advantage of that. You know what I mean? No one can misuse their morals. I mean, master manipulators can. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
But
yeah.
you get the picture. You know what I'm
Yeah,
trying
I
to say.
do. I do. I remember it was a big thing when you were fighting for me out there in California that your family would always be there. Very young family at the time.
Yeah,
Look like they've grown up quite a bit now.
yeah. Hey, the community was so strong in at the shows that my daughter, she was 2 years old, 2 or 3 years old. We didn't worry at all about letting her run around the entire event
Right,
because everyone knew each other.
right,
You know,
right,
everyone
right.
knew each other. It was weird. Even people from that were from different gyms.
Yes, yes, you're absolutely right. It made a total difference. When we talk about family, I think that a lot of people don't understand the importance of not just overall family, but having that one person by your side
Hmm.
that supports you in good and bad and sickness and in health. And that's that young lady who I'm looking right there in the middle of the screen there, or in the picture. No, no, on my screen. I have a picture of your family up on the screen right now. You might can't see it, but
Yeah.
your wife and you guys have been together a long time, man. Tell me a little bit about how special she is to you.
Hey, man. I wouldn't be right here talking to you if it wasn't for her.
Mm,
Just to give a quick backstory,
yeah,
brother, you remember Elvin? He fought on shows as
I
well.
remember the name.
Man, he was amazing, man. His IQ is still amazing as well. Uh, but her brother was into Muay Thai.
Is
He
that
would,
Elvin? Is that Elvin?
yeah, yeah, her
Elvin. Okay.
Elvin.
Okay.
Um, but he was into Muay Thai, and then he got me into it, just interested in it. He would watch fights, he would draw Muay Thai figurines, stuff like that.
Right,
And
right.
then when we found a gym with Trey, uh, we just hopped in. You know what I mean? And the rest was history from there. But if I had never gotten with Bernadette, I would have never met her brother, found Muay Thai, um, and you know what I'm saying. There's plenty of times where I wanted to quit, but
Uh-huh.
she let me. You know, there's times where I wanted to slack off. Oh, I'm just gonna stay home today. You
Uh,
better get your butt. You're not
oh,
sacrificing for nothing. You know what I mean? It's like, man, uh, she's my backbone for real. I know that's a lot of people say that about someone else, but she for real is my backbone. You know, to this day, like she holds it down, man. You don't know how many stories I've heard throughout my years inside the men's locker room of fighters going through it with their other, whether it's their wife or their
right,
girlfriend.
right.
I've even heard stories of their wife or their girlfriend telling them, "You suck. You can't do it. What are you wasting your time for?"
Wow.
It's like Jesus Christ. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm fortunate to have someone like her who's gonna push their man to do what they love, even though it doesn't Muay Thai doesn't pay.
No,
You know,
no.
uh, and with 3 kids, you know what I mean? Like she takes care of me. Man, there's times where I've came home from the gym and there's uh candles and a bubble bath.
Uh-oh.
You know what I like just
Oh,
because she
no,
knows
what she
I
really doing, she's trying to get you when you're weak, man.
yeah, yeah, but you know what I'm
I
saying? It's
get it.
like it'll take you further than than you can imagine. But
100.
hard, man, because it is a two-way street. I can't just take. You know what I mean? I got and feel when the balance is off and start doing for her
Yeah,
as well.
right.
Just as you know what I mean?
And part of that is, and again, that's why, listen, fighting is hard, right? One of the things that we got
Yeah,
to do better is get more money in our sport. It's up
yeah,
to people like me and other people who are heads of organizations to work their ass off, right? To try to get more money for these. There are special people like you, Eddie, who, you deserve to make some good money when you're out there doing your craft and showcasing your skills and entertaining people at the
yeah,
same time. We got to get the money better. And listen, that's why I hesitate to do pros. because I don't want pros to make these guys to make, oh, I made $500, I made $1,000. That is not any money, or even 2 or 3,000. That's no money, right? When
Yeah.
you get up to a certain level, and I got to convince these guys to stop prostituting yourself, right? If a promoter can't pay you some decent amount of money, by the time you come out of training, you've used that money's gone, man. You almost are fighting for free, right? Because that's a couple $1,000 is nothing, and you're going out there risking your life. This is why I keep telling people when I start doing pros, which I hope to be soon, my goal, right? My goal, and everything that's in me is that I can pay fighters more than what they're making with these other organizations. That's what I want. And I always put a word out. If any backers or sponsors who want to come on board with someone who really will do that and take care of these fighters, please contact me, because Eddie knows. And Eddie, do I do what I say I'm going to do?
Yeah.
I do what I say I'm going to do. And as long as you are there and you're committed and you do what you say you're going to do, right, we're going to build something great. So I'm just going to say, in that one picture that I had up there, Eddie, earlier, I talked about this. You see what that says on the bottom?
I can't. I
You
don't
can't
know.
see it. That's fine. It says the reunion.
The reunion.
Just never, ever, Eddie, count it out, brother. You still a young man. How old are you, Eddie?
I'm 34.
Right. Well, you're still relatively young. All right. We got a few more years in there, so we got to make it happen. All I'm saying is that I have big aspirations for the sport, and I think that talented people like you really, really deserve to make good money. And when you're out there and you're performing, and I just want to work my butt off, continue to work my butt off to try to give fighters a little bit more. So I'm building in that way. So hopefully I can maybe do it before the end of Eddie's time, all right? So that we will have that reunion, Eddie, to have another great event somewhere, whether it's there, over here, or whatever. I'm opening up different states right now. I can see some future. I might see a little bit of future in that, Eddie. What do you think?
Hey, that'd be awesome. If you could do it before I'm up, my time is up, that'd be awesome. But if not, it would still be awesome, for the people that's up and coming.
Right. Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm really trying hard. I just think our sport really deserves a little bit more. And we got to get that money out there. You mentioned something a little bit earlier about faith, right? And also, I just want to spend it for a moment here to a few more minutes that we have going here for the show. But what gives you a sense of peace, Eddie? Did I lose Eddie? Look like he froze there. Maybe he'll come back in just a second. Let's see what happens. I think we froze in there. Sometimes he has to kind of redo it. I hope this thing does not kick me off. Guys, if it kicks me, oh, there he is. Eddie.
Yeah.
You back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of froze up there for a little bit and everything. But I was asking you about what gives you a sense of peace in life. Maybe you've said it already when you talk about your family.
Sense of peace. What makes me go to one thing that I found that helps me sleep at night, and it really throws me off if it's off, is my relationship with my kids and my wife. Had exchanges, or if I'm laying in bed, we all do it. We're laying in bed and then our mind is just going, it's just going, like we can't sleep. But when I'm laying in bed and I review the exchanges that I've had with my wife or my kids, if they were good exchanges, then I sleep better. But if exchanges to where I was tripping, you know what I mean, overthinking certain things, or just stuff along those lines, where I feel no reason, yeah, that's what keeps me up at night.
Right. So your family is really important to you, and it gives you a peace of mind. I agree with that. I think it's important to keep, your family situation, because there's a lot of things that can go on that'll throw you off. That's why I always say you should keep your circle small, right? Because people will bring a bunch of drama into your life and their problems, and it'll be pulling you down, and you don't even know it.
Yeah. Oh man. And I feel like people well, I don't want to say people because that excludes myself, but we
Yeah.
many times get ourselves involved in things that we had no business getting involved in, you know,
Right.
just by because the person that's in the situation is an acquaintance or something like that,
Right.
you
Right.
know. But then, like, check it out. Say two people are fighting, right? They were best friends, or all three of you were friends. Two people
Right.
were, you end up taking one person's side because you feel like they were right or whatnot.
Right.
It may not be completely right, but you feel like they were the most right. You never know. And say that person that you took their side, you guys start going on a bender about talking crap about that other person or whatnot, or you even agree with what they say, talking crap.
Right.
Nowhere, those two people get, you know what we were arguing about was stupid, but you know what, Eddie was saying this about you when we were
Right.
going through. Then I
Right.
look like the asshole. You know what I
Right.
mean? So,
It's best to stay out of it.
excuse me. Yeah. But
No.
yeah, it's better to stay out of it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right. No, it's real talk.
When people are gonna put aside their differences, and then there you are, just looking tainted.
Right, smart. Good advice. Good advice. I want to also give a shout out to Asa Tenpal, there, who's another talented fighter, fights with Glory. He's saying yes. I guess it's yes for a lot of reasons. Yes, to the fact that you're on, and yes, maybe agrees with what you're saying. And also the Bam Bam
Yeah.
Stale. He's saying that it was a great pleasure sharing the ring with this guy, and he's certainly been
Uh,
in the ring with you a lot. What do you think about Bam?
Bam. Uh, when I think about my fight career, he's one of the persons that I think about the most because coming up in amateurs, he was always
Yeah,
felt like he was in majority of my fights. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
I think he was.
Just I'm comfortable when he's in there reffing as well. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
he's a good referee. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's definitely certainly knows what he's doing there. And again, as we're starting to just kind of wind down just a little bit, I want to talk a little bit about this new training facility might be coming to the area there. I heard that you and somebody special might be teaming together to bring a new Muay Thai training facility. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, man. Me and John Herney, you know, another one of the
Big
IKF great.
Sexy. Well, he's not big anymore.
Well, he's a tall dude. He's still a heavyweight, but
Yeah, yeah.
he's slim sexy now.
Slim Sexy. I like it. Yeah, John Hoodie, great guy, great guy.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your plans.
With him, as far as two of my other boys, Tim and Darren,
Mhm.
man, we're just living the dream.
Right,
That's it. You know what I mean?
right.
Uh, the stars have aligned where this was able to happen, and everyone was available to take on the challenge. Uh, man, we're just, I don't know, man. We're just having fun. You know what I mean?
Has the gym opened yet?
It was supposed to be open, but COVID,
Yeah,
it's it's under construction right now.
right.
Yeah, we're
What
putting.
area is it going to be in? Do you mind saying?
You said what?
What area is it going to be in? I
Uh,
mean, and where?
Pleasanton, California. Pleasanton.
Oh, in Pleasanton.
Yeah.
Okay. Very,
Yep.
very.
Oh, man,
Isn't Dan Black or somebody in Pleasanton?
nah. Oh, not that I know of.
Who's over there in Pleasanton?
No one's in Pleasanton that I know of.
Okay, well, good. That makes it even better. So we have to maybe talk. I have to maybe get you in touch with Ryan and Jack in those. Since you started out kind of in the PKB, we have to maybe talk about it.
Yeah. Hey, if you guys ever in the area, check out the facility, man. It it's it's freaking awesome. You know what I'm saying? Like we
No.
got a ring set up. We got a conditioning room. We got mats. We got, oh man, we're getting showers put in.
What?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm about to live in there.
I know, right? Hey, look, Hey, I lived in my gym for a little while. Hey, ain't no shame in that. Let me tell you something. I was the best I've ever been when I was staying there. I stayed there for maybe a year. You know, I was single, doing what I do every day. I trained every day. I was in the best shape of my life. I mean, you know, so it's not the end of the world. But I think it's great that two talented fighters and maybe the other guys as well who are coming together and continuing the legacy of teaching people, you know, the sport of Muay Thai. You guys are awesome. I mean, great skills, great people, nice, and all that, you know, and stuff. And listen, feel free if you ever have need any advice on anything about that, feel free to give me a call and stuff like that as a group. And I can be more than happy to talk with you guys about, because there's a lot of other things that go into a business like that, right? Personality sometimes get in the way, money gets in the way, and if you don't set it up the right way, you will have all kinds of issues down the road, right?
Yeah.
And things that, you know, that would really, you know, catch you off guard and could really destroy the actual business. So I wish you guys all the luck in doing that. You have a fight coming up soon, correct?
Yeah, I got a fight for Triumphant in Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's that looking? How was that looking, Eddie?
Exciting because I'm gonna go all out. I mean, I'm not holding back at all this fight for the simple fact that not forever, but it could be my last Muay Thai fight for a while because I'm gonna be pursuing MMA.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. Have you been training like in jiu-jitsu or grappling and stuff too?
Yeah, I've been training for, I don't know, possibly a year, maybe a little over a year.
Right. Okay.
But I didn't have plans of going to MMA. I was just looking for another way to rehab my knee. You know
Right.
what I mean? And I'm so in love with movement, and you know what I mean. Like, I'm on the balance board. I'm over here trying to juggle. I'm always trying to manipulate what's in front of me.
Right.
What better thing to learn than to manipulate a person? You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And learn how to
Well,
move.
MMA has it. The MMA has its place. I don't promote MMA, right? I only do Muay Thai and kickboxing and boxing. You know, that's all I do. Stand up, right? And but you know, to each his own, right? Who's going to do the MMA? Listen, either way, if you decide to go MMA, to get paid,
Yeah.
right? You deserve to get paid some good money, right? And that's what I want. So I would say don't leave out of Muay Thai too early. Remember what I just said. Remember what
Yeah.
I just said. Don't leave too early, right? Because I always say build that resume up as big as you can, so that the UFC community, Bellator community can say, hey, you know what? This guy's worthy of making more money. A lot of people make that mistake.
That's who my fight is with, Bellator.
With Scott.
Well, we're working on. I'm trying to see, you know what I mean, what's good with Bellator. That's who I'm planning on working with.
Okay, good. Well, Scott Coker, president of Bellator, somebody I worked with for years out there. I know Scott's a good guy. You know, it'd be great if you get involved with that. That'll be good too. But Scott, just know, Scott loves kickboxing and Muay Thai.
Yeah.
Yes, you might not know, you were young, but Scott started out doing, you know, karate martial arts, but then he went into kickboxing and Muay Thai and all that. One of the best promoters probably in the country, right?
Yeah.
That's why he got that position. I would say part of why he got that position with Bellator, because he deserves it. He's good. And he's a good guy. I mean, unless I don't know if he's changed much, but I know with our relationship, we overall had a good relationship.
Yeah.
So my thing is, do not get thrown off too much by thinking that Scott would not possibly consider you for the Bellator kickboxing and Muay Thai side.
Oh yeah, I love that, man.
Yeah, well, Scott Coker, look, Scott Coker's a businessman, right? And he has some great backing right now. So don't just say, hey, because your talents, I'm not saying you won't do well in MMA. I'm just saying we know you're talented in Muay Thai and kickboxing. We know you're talented there. And Scott Coker respects, what I like about Scott Coker is that he respects the sport. And let me tell you how I say it, and I'll say this and we'll move on. Is because even though he's doing MMA, and look, he got a great contract, a great deal with MMA, with Bellator, with UFC, when UFC bought him out. And then he later on, when the contract ended and all that, he went and it was in Bellator. Listen, even when he does promote kickboxing, You know what he does? He's the only one that does it. He will
Huh.
put a cage on one side of the
Oh,
room and a ring on the other side. Listen,
I
that
bet.
shows that he respects the sport.
Yeah.
Because I don't like it when a promoter is either so cheap or doesn't respect the sport. No, I'm telling you the truth. And they put kickboxing and Muay Thai in a cage. I don't care. I know I'm offending somebody, but that's the way I feel about it. Because we need those ropes to manipulate our skills and our techniques. What do you think about that, Eddie?
Um, I feel like if this was a simulation, that's just stage select. You know what I mean? Every stage has their pros and cons.
Yeah.
Love I do love the ropes. I have yet felt the cage, so I can't really make that comparison. All I know is I love the ropes.
All right.
I
That was
love
yeah.
I love putting people on the ropes. You know what I mean? I love using my battlefield.
There's a different feeling on a cage than a
Oh
rope because the cage does not give. I'm just trying to tell you right now. And so
yeah,
you can't manipulate when you get there's a totally different feel. That's all. So you better get used to that because that can change your whole game plan. And not only that, guess what? If you miss that round kick
yeah.
and those toes go into that fence,
Oh man. Oh heck no.
hey, I don't think that's gonna feel good, Eddie.
Uh,
So I'm just saying that it is a different culture of fighting. And so if
yeah.
you're going to go that route, that's fine. But please don't give up on Muay Thai and kickboxing because guys like me and some other guys out there, right? The Glory guys, even Scott, I still say Scott, the Lion Fight, some of those guys, they're still working hard. They don't have everything in place yet. We certainly don't have the money in place yet, but they are still working hard to try to keep this sport alive.
Yeah.
And I know that that there will be room for you certainly on this side. But listen, brother, I do not blame you, right, for pursuing your dreams and your goals or whatever it is. Best you got to eat too, right? You got to eat, And I certainly so I wish you all the best. At the end of the day, though, as I wind down here for sure, that I want to ask you about the your legacy in this sport. What ultimately would you like to achieve as far as your legacy overall?
As far as legacy,
Yeah.
um, man, I don't know. Um, Probably as I don't need to be the best of all time. I just need to be the best of my time.
Ah,
You know, I just want to make sure that everyone that I fight carries my everyone that I fight, um, even if I lost to them
right.
later on down the road when their grandkids ask, "Hey, Grandpa, what was the fight that you remember out of the hundreds of fights that will always say, man, I Eddie Solo, I'll never forget that dude. I
Wow.
I won that fight, but damn, you know what I
Right.
mean? And then they'll go look me up, find out who is Eddie Abasolo. My dad was undefeated, 100-0, whatever. Uh, but who's Eddie Abasolo? And then my legacy will be carried on through that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Well, brother, I think it's going to live for a long time. I think you have a really bright future. And again, somewhere down the road, I hope our paths meet again,
Yeah.
where we can perhaps, do that dance again in that square circle. My dance as a promoter, your dance as a fighter, you know.
And I never count nothing out. You never know what tomorrow brings. You
Right,
know.
right. No doubt about it. But it was a pleasure, working with you all of those years over in California, Eddie. One of my favorite fighters, one of the most talented people that I know in the game. And I certainly agree with Jeff Grady. That's certainly one of the most talented fighters in the country. And I just hope that whether it's some big backing come to some organization or me, and when I hit that lottery ticket, whatever the case might be, I really hope that I can give you or be a part of that rise when you reach that pinnacle of your career. And help people like you go to that next level, a level that they deserve to be at, brother. Listen, I want to thank you for taking the time to be on Johnny Davis Live today, and I look forward to talking with you again real soon.
Hey man, let me tell you this: if my time does pass, and you do get that lottery ticket, hey man, donations are always accepted.
I got you, Andy, brother. Hey, brother, thanks so much for being on the show today. I'll talk to you soon,
Hey,
okay?
for sure.
All right, thanks, brother. Okay, bye-bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, right there, you met him yourself. If you didn't know who he was, you know who he is now. Eddie Abasolo. It's such a great pleasure taking a minute to chat with him. I know we went over a little bit over an hour today, but that's kind of what I do sometimes when I'm talking to people like that. But, you know, he's a great guy. He has a great story. And I really, really would advise people to take a moment to see more about who he is as a person and as a fighter. I really do believe that he can be great inspiration for you as a fighter. He has great stories about, you know, his relationship with his trainers, his relationship with his families, and all of that. There are just so many things that I believe that he can be a great inspiration for you. And as I close out here today, one of the things that I posted this week and a lot of people seem to have liked it was about the things that are going on in this country. And my thoughts about that is simply that if we want peace, it has to start with us. It has to start with every individual if we want it. We have to work on ourselves. We have to do that introspect, right? See who we are and what kind of world and what kind of community we want to live in if we want this to be a peaceful society. And it's every relationship, every interaction, you got to be thinking about that. Reach out to those people who might be a little different than you might be. Always respect each other along the way, and you will make it. So I want to share where that thought actually came from. That thought came from, believe it or not, when I was in choir. I used to take choir. I used to sing on the choir in school. And they had this song, and the song was "Let There Be Peace on Earth." So I thought I would take a minute to close out the show today. And I hope you guys will really take this to heart and the words of this little song. It says, "Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as our Father, brothers and sisters, all are we. Let me walk with my brothers and sisters in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow to take each moment and live each moment. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me." All right, guys. Hey, thanks so much again for watching another edition of Johnny Davis Live. We want to make sure that we always respect each other. And in these days and times, please continue to wear your mask. Forward march, everyone. This is Johnny Davis Live, and I'm checking out. Talk to you soon.